No. What's going on, everybody?
No,
This
I'm not
is
going to it.
Digital here, and my lovely wife Valparia in Voice Bots in episode 322. Never did butchered it, but it's a crazy time right now that I'm not gonna lie about.
Yep.
So yeah, look at her. Uh, I'm paying attention to her, making sure she don't try to make up me.
Well, the whole week I've been thinking about engineer mindset again, and I'm already doing my GED stuff slowly but steady. If y'all would ask me why I have a bunch of notes right here, GED stuff.
Also, if y'all want the video blog from earlier, like even though I did that yesterday,
Uh-huh.
day for Wednesday,
Yes, sir.
it took me a while to get it uploaded today.
Really do do.
hmm
Huh.
So yeah, but it did some crazy stuff. But also, I want to bring this up that Val got her permit. She finally got her permit.
I want to start practicing driving right away, though.
I know.
Am I right,
So,
baby?
so he finally.
Finally got my driver permit, my goal for the year.
hmm Now, next goal is to try to get the driver license,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
I think you should get.
Something that I want, to do for a long effing fucking time.
hmm You always told me you wanted to get your driver permit.
Well, rather than deal with a pick-me girl who just loves to be given what is handled to them.
That's true. To pick me, but
Right. I'm an
hmm
idiot for saying that.
you're not.
All I can say, rock and roll to the altos.
Yeah. But me and Val have talked about a lot of stuff. We have debated on some stuff when it came to what we're talking about.
Because you're here to survive. You're an adult. You're here to survive.
That is true.
Because some people, David, you've been talking about this for a long time. You said that
hmm
there's some kids nowadays, they were given what is given to them and not working for it.
Exactly, and then they don't want to work hard for it.
Yup.
They let her, try to get freebies.
Freeloads. Oh, shit.
Exactly, and I'll be honest, it's up with the modern era.
That sucks.
Sad thing that us autistic people get dragged into that stuff when we don't want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, please leave it out of it.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of us don't like being a part of stuff like that.
That sucks.
Am I right?
Yep.
And sometimes we get dragged into stuff that we are not comfortable with. Am I right about that, Val?
Yep.
And I can go on about that stuff, but in a rabbit hole,
Rabbit hole.
and that's something
They're
I
not
don't
hoes, David. They're not hoes. They're not hoes.
tell me about it.
No, seriously.
Oh, I know, Val. I know.
They're a bunch of hoes. Stupid hoes.
I know from ton of experience. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're not the only ones who know about that. I'm looking at stuff on Google Map right now too. But Val is excited because she now got her full-fledged permit, which I know for a fact you are hoping to be able to use that.
Well, that's what I want learn to do. You need to set a goal.
That is true.
And you can't just have someone give stuff handled to you.
That actually is true, and something I learned a while back. And I'll always say this: it's not always good trying to get freebies.
Freebie, oh, that's fine if it's like passive.
If it pass it, yeah. But if it not, nope.
Hmm.
And some people that don't think about it,
What do you mean by David Bun?
like some people say, maybe I could get the easy way out.
Nope.
And soccer is that mostly modern, society when it comes
Modern
to
idiots.
kids, like trying to get freebie and trying to get out of
No.
and trying to get out of hard work.
Really, David Bun?
Oh yeah, trying to get out of hard work and trying to get stuff for free.
You meant, what do you mean? What are those? For example, David.
Like, kids who don't accept hard work and try to, be all lazy.
Spoiled?
Yep.
Oh, tell me about it, dude.
Most of them, and
Are idiots.
y'all might not know about it, but a lot of autistic, we're pretty annoyed at it because we get dragged into the.
We work for it, man.
We work for it, but we get dragged into the annoying part when they're not even a part of a. And let me be honest, it annoys the crap out of us. Because we don't want to be a part of stupid crap that's not a part of it. Oh, you pulled the fan out,
And
pal.
also, autistics work our shit off.
Exactly.
We work shit, man.
We work our crap off, but we get dragged into stuff that we don't want to be a part of.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
And I always say that it's easier to drag people who don't want to be a part of something that they're not a part of into something.
Than just being appreciated for what they have.
Exactly.
And you're right about it, dude.
And there have been so many times people in our community get dragged into that. And
you told me that too.
Oh yeah, I have. And that's something I am not going to lie about, but
we're screwed on that area.
It does, but it also drives a lot of autistic people in the community mad.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm absolutely serious, Val.
Thanks for reminding me about that.
Like, we always get dragged into stuff that we don't want to be a part of.
And the idiocy always comes away.
Exactly.
Idiots. Mm-hmm. And David knows this. They're a bunch of idiots like hardcore freeloaders.
That is true. And then we get dragged.
We're looked down upon, even though we're not doing anything bad.
And seeing it, our community always have to deal with the aftermath of the annoying behind crap.
Oh, the corner of hell? I call it stupid thing.
Oh, yeah.
David and I talk about it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're supposed to hear every day?
Because I can remember so many times that our community get dragged in stuff that we don't want to be a part of, but, they don't care.
They don't care because we're awesome.
And for autistic people, it could be a nightmare and sensory overload.
Right?
Yep.
No, I want to hear about that because we're amazing.
And for people in our community, sensory overload is no fun for some of us.
Yep, especially for traumas.
Then you have what I call autistic traitors.
For what?
Who betrayed the autistic community thinking what they're doing are right when it's disgusting.
They're idiots for that.
Oh, I know, Val. But we do have a lot of them,
A lot of idiots.
That and a lot of traitors who,
What do you say traitors for, David?
People think, oh, there need to be a cure, there need to be a cure for something that does not have a disease.
It doesn't have to say, you say that.
But am I right?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I wasn't taking notes also for my algebra stuff.
And then we have people who, think ABA therapy is good when
not really, David.
Let's be honest, it's awful. Like, you remember, I pointed out all the awful stuff about ABA therapy. You remember, Val?
Uh-huh.
And I pointed out the creator of ABA therapy, same one who created gay conversion therapy, was no good. My thing is, when they come to people who create some effed up stuff, there are no reason to support them, because in the end, all you're doing is supporting, ableist, hom, no, I mean, homophobes and all of that by doing that. Because the person who created ABA therapy is the same person who created gay conversion therapy, so we all know it's bad. That for sure. And that's something that some people don't realize. And I always point it out. The people who you think done the most good sometimes some can also be some of the most evilest if you don't know the history. And I always say this. History can have a lot of truth and a lot of lies. And it depends on what it is. But most people don't realize that. Heck, I think the messed up stuff before. Heck, all the stuff that I have seen that are messed up, I can actually write a book about. And that I'm not even lying about. But like, I have seen stuff that I would drop my mouth at things that are pretty messed up. And that I'm actually serious about. Because what some people don't realize is that there's stuff that is outrageous in a way, and us people in the autistic community have pointed out multiple times, and saying it, we won't quit because we know if we quit, a lot of the messed up people will get their messes out, and it will be more harm for our community than anything. And I always say this: if you want to do stuff right, you gotta fight and you gotta call the bad ones out. And that's something I'll always say because if you don't, you're doomed to repeat history and some of the messed up. Am I right, Val?
Yep.
Because I always say this: you could be so good, but if you don't pay attention to stuff, the right people will use it. I always say this.
Yep.
Some of the messed up people don't want the truth out there. And sometimes, and I'll be honest about it can be hard. Like not wanting to hear the truth when the truth is brutal.
Yep.
Am I right about that, Val?
Yep.
Heck, I can literally mark down so much stuff that I have seen that is messed up. It ain't even freaking funny. Like, hell, I can actually write a book about most stuff that I have seen that are messed up. Like, I'm dead serious on it because there are so many messed up stuff I have seen. I can write books 4 days for stuff that is pretty effed up. And that's something that some people don't realize. Autistic people like us can see some pretty messed up stuff. And I would say that you can only hide and not say anything to a certain point before stuff starts getting to a point where you have to call it out. Because you could be so quiet and ignore the truth. It can sometimes be, eventually to the point where it will come back and haunt you. Because it's something that people don't realize. If you don't realize it, you're doomed to repeat it. It's sometimes better to call it out before it gets bad. Am I right about that, Val?
Yeah.
Hey, there's stuff that, and I always say that I do regret not calling out when I was younger because I prefer to keep my ears closed like a moron when I was younger, and that's something I do regret because one, bad people use that as an advantage, and I really do mean that. You have people who will straight up be that messed up, and it it's something I will never agree with. But time when you don't pay attention to it when people use it. Look, and it's something I'll say you can be dead against something so wrong, but if you want to stop it from happening, you got to take action. You just can't ignore it because one, you ignore something that you need to take action
Uh-huh.
on eventually the people who done wrong will get away with that stuff. And sometimes it take a while to build it back up and try to clean up the damage. My point is you never ignore the signs. Because the moment you ignore them is the moment that the people start taking advantage. And that's something I have learned long ago. And that's something that I will give some advice on. If you see something that someone do something you don't agree with, don't keep quiet. Call it out because if you don't, eventually they are going to come in and do some messed up stuff. That's what I will have to say because the more you keep quiet about something wrong, the more likely the people keep will keep on doing wrong. Because you can't keep quiet about dumb stuff. You can't. Because it will start building up worse and worse until you start taking action.
Yep.
And I always say this, when you don't take action in time, bad stuff happens. And that I will be serious about. Because you can be so adamant against something and not pay attention to it. And the next thing you know, bam, catastrophe. It's something us in the autistic community are always worried about. Because one, it's something that do concern a lot of autistic in our community. Because we're always fearing that, bad people might take advantage. Because I know for a fact stuff like that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't take stuff like that serious, eventually it's going to come back and bite you on your butt. Something I learned long ago. Heck, there was stuff that I do regret that I should have took action for long ago that I did not and regret it. And that's something that I'll say. You could be so adamant and not pay attention, and then something bad happened. That's something I will be on it about. But no matter what you do, you got to be adamant against bad stuff. Because if you're not, they're going to use it and they're going to play it like a fiddle. But that's something I will say. Heck, all the stuff I have learned, it's something that I will be on it about. So yeah, I'm going to be soon. But one thing I learned and what I'll be on it about is that you can be so adamant about something, but if you don't pay attention to it, it will come back and really screw you. And and that's something I'll be on it about. And most people don't realize it. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, but the more you ignore something, the worse it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right, Val?
Yep.
And sometimes when you take stuff the wrong way, it can make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Which we have done that, and y'all have seen it done it on here before. It sometimes takes learning from mistakes to realize when you're in the wrong. And that's something I'll always say.
Whew.
It does take learning from mistakes to get better at something. And I'll say it. If you can't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat history. That's something I will say because what some people don't realize is that if you repeat history, you're going to repeat it over and over and over again.
Yep.
Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that some people just do not get. And that I'm serious about. Heck, I always say to make sure when you do stuff, do it right. Do not be a slacker. That's something I'll always be honest about because when you be a slacker and you slack off when it comes to stuff, you're bound to mess up. Something I learned long ago. Because one, the thing when there we go. When you need to learn about stuff, you got to know what you're doing. Because if you don't, you're pretty much screwed. That's something I learned long ago. You got to know what you're doing right. Because if you don't do stuff right, you're pretty much screwed in a way. And I always say this, always pay attention to the right, proper stuff. Am I right about that, Bill? Because, let me be honest, we both have made our mistakes. Am I right about that? Because there's stuff that I do regret doing that I wish I could take back. And there's stuff that she have done that she wished she could take back. But yeah. But yeah, my thing is that a minute. But yeah. There we go. But my thing is that we have to focus on the stuff and call them out for what it is. Because the moment we don't, it's not going to be pretty. And I always say this: you could do so much good, but the moment you mess up, it's not going to be a good time.
Yep.
Am I right, Val?
Yeah.
But it's a crazy. Heck, there's stuff that I have learned long ago that I know for a fact. I'm glad I know it. That I prefer stay away from, if y'all know what I mean. And I'll always say this: you can only do as good as much as you know. And my point is that if you want to do good, you got to point out what it right and what it wrong. And you cannot pick sides. That's something I'm going to bring up because no matter what side you pick, you'll sometimes be in the wrong. And am I right about that, Val?
Yeah.
But hopefully in the future, people will start, connecting dots, start getting better, and start realizing something. Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
But that's something we'll see in the future if everybody decides to do stuff right. Hmm. But yeah, I'm right now looking at Myrtle Beach at the R.J. Corman Carolina line with ran by the Carolina Siren back in the day. Crazy. But I would say is that sometimes you got to point out the wrongdoing. Am I right, Val?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you can be part of the wrong part too and the wrong crowd if you don't pay attention. Like, with we both ended up doing that. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, we both have learned the hard way. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
But as we get older, we get more knowledge and know what is right and wrong. As we get older. And we start getting more adamant and hard and better. Am I,
Yep.
am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Heck, I will say this. no matter what you do wrong, you can always do something right. It's never too late, but you gotta be very respectful in a way. Am I right about that, Bill?
Yep.
Because if you do something to upset someone, then technically it would be on you, you know.
Hmm.
But I always say this: be respectful and treat people with respect. Don't treat people like dog garbage. Because one, it eventually will come back and in the butt. Am I right about that?
Yep.
Heck, you seen how it did me, you know? And heck, to be honest, there's some stuff that I will be honest that I do think. Now, I also do want to bring it up when I talked about it on the video blog yesterday. I am still thinking about getting a new camera, but that will have to wait until tax season. Also, I am thinking about getting not a call phone, but a phone just for video blogs and stuff. That way, it's technically going to be an unlocked phone with no phone number. I'm not replacing this phone because it's going to be my primary phone for phone calls, work stuff, because I have my work app here, bank payments and stuff. So, what that this phone is going to be for. The other phone will be for video blogging and stuff. But that's something that I will save up for. But my thing is that we
What?
we do need to focus on a lot when it comes to investing in infrastructure and all that. So I just ended up going into transportation stuff. Did that, oopsie. But I'll say this: we need to focus on doing better instead of trying to, talk crap. Am I right?
Hmm.
Because if we keep doing that, we're going to be doomed to repeat the same stuff over and over again. Which they'll know what I'm talking about because I have done this a long ago, and it's something I am not doing again because I do want to be able to have a good future, do stuff right, instead of being a freaking moron. If you know what I mean, am I right?
Yeah.
Because let me be honest, we all have effed up, and what I'm going to say is far better to do stuff right instead of effing up and being entitled. Am I right about that, Bill?
Hmm.
Hey, and when I was telling, yeah, I did make a lot of mistakes as a kid, but as you get older, you start learning that there are some stuff you can do and some stuff that you should not be doing.
Yep.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about, am I right?
Hmm.
Heck, there are stuff that I had to learn the hard way, and sometimes it's better to learn the hard way instead of doing something real serious and end up really just messing up. But it's better to learn when you get a chance to, and get lucky and be graceful.
Oh, that's some of the followers.
Mm-hmm. Heck, I always say this: the better you learn stuff, the better you'll be off, and much more mindful you'll be off. Am I right?
Yep.
And it'll be harder to repeat the same mistake if you know what you're doing. That's something I will say. Sound like a train about to go by? Let's see. Yep, that a train going by. And the northbound Palmetto are running late. So, oof. But what I learned is that you got to learn to become good. Even though it can be hard, it's better to learn it before it's too late. Because it's always better to learn from our mistakes instead of, being ignorant and saying, what did I do wrong? Because the moment you start doing that, then the moment you start, repeating history. And that's something I don't want to do. That's something that Mel don't want to do. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be repeating history and going down the wrong path. We even do not want to be making the same mistakes that we did when we were younger. And trust me, we have done mistakes when we were younger that we do regret, that we will not do again now that we're adults, or like older adults that we did when we were younger adults. If y'all know what I mean. And I'll say this: even no matter how good you are, you can mess up. And sometimes it takes that one mess up to really mess everything up. But it's better to learn from those mistakes instead of trying, be all macho about it. Saying, nothing wrong here, nothing wrong here, if y'all know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment you start being all macho about it, you're going to really put a oof in a oof. And trust me when I say this, it's better to have them dignity, admit when you're wrong, than trying to, be all macho about something. Because the moment you try being that, the moment it's going to be a rough one. And trust me,
Mm-hmm.
it's nothing fun with trying to be all macho about something you're wrong about and trying to believe in that wrong. Because it did make you look like a worse person. And that's something you don't want to do to yourself. It's even harder when you're autistic. And that coming from us because we are autistic. Am I right, Val?
Yep.
Because when you don't admit your F up, you're bound to mess up.
Yep.
And that's something I will say. And it's better to admit the F ups than trying to, cover your efforts up in the wrong. Because one, when you try doing it, it's not going to be pretty. And it does make you look like a bad person when you don't try to admit it. Am I right about that? Hell, there's stuff that I done that I wish I would have not. That technically made me look like a bad person. And that stuff I do regret. The thing is that You got to make sure you don't make mistakes. Am I right, Val?
Yep.
But it's always better to learn from them. It's better to learn from mistakes than trying to be all high and mighty. It's always better to get off your high horse than to try to be on it nonstop because that high horse will be saying that will end you if you try to stand on it 24/7. And trust me, it's not fun when you get your pride knocked out of you. That I'll be honest about. Because I had friends who literally got their pride knocked the crap out of them when they were younger. And they said, David, I was way too prideful when I was older, and I do say I won't do it again. Like, I had friends who literally told me that they will not do prideful crap because of how destructive it was in their life. Some of them even pointed saying, yeah, David, we do not need this. And that's when I agree because one, sometimes being prideful can be a real yikes. But it could be a buzzkill in a way. So that one thing I learned, and it actually helped me. It's something I will learn and take to my grave as advice.
Oh, my baby.
Sorry, Val. And I will give other people the same advice. Don't be entitled. Don't. It's one thing you don't want to do. Be respectful. Heck, admit when you're wrong, and when people are pointing out that you're wrong, understand it. Don't try to be all macho thinking you're right. Because that stuff can destroy friendships like no tomorrow. Heck, I had friends who literally destroyed their friendships over it. And my advice, always avoid it. Because trying to be macho over something that you probably will be wrong about is never a good thing at all. Because it will end a lot of goodwill. Plus, it's pretty bad and it will make a lot of people not like. And the reason why I say that is from experience. And I always say this: it's better to have people know what is going on instead of people being a little disrespectful. Hell, it's better to admit when you're wrong, and it's always better to get off your high horse.
Yep.
You learned that the hard way, Val. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to make fun of you for that. I'm just trying to be honest. And you know I'm trying to be honest about that. Am I right?
Yeah.
Heck, I done it before too. Like, to be honest, everybody, I actually have done it before. And I will admit that I have literally effed up before too. And that's something I'm not gonna lie about either. My point is that it's better to get off your high horse, admit when you're wrong, than trying to be stubborn, not stop thinking you're right 24/7. Because that will, and I mean it will come back and bite you in a bad way. And that's the thing. I have learned that. And I literally got humbled because of it. My point is, you gotta be respectful about something. You literally got to know when you're in the wrong. Because if you don't, it's not gonna be a good time. And not for sure. Like, I'll say this. It's not gonna be a good time if you can't admit that you're wrong. Because the moment you admit it, admit that you were wrong about something, it's gonna be a lot easier to get that pressure off.
Yep.
And to be honest, a lot of people can be high and mighty and not admit when they're wrong when they're actually wrong. Heck, I fell victim to that. And I really do regret it. Like, there have been times, heck, there have been times last year I done it and I do regret it. But, it's always better to learn from it than to, try to be all disrespectful and talking crap. Heck, and sometimes, and I will bring to people, up with people, you will sometimes relapse and do some stuff. You will relapse sometimes if you don't pay attention. And it happens to the best of us. And that I'm serious about. It happens to the best of us. And people don't realize that. Like, I can say so many times that it have happened to a lot of good people and end up making mistakes. And trust me when I say this, it's not fun relapse and end up making terrible mistakes because it's easy. It's easy to do. And trust me, it's something that can be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something I learned long ago. And yes, I'm looking up train areas on Google Maps. We talked about this. But my point is that you got to recognize sometimes, and when I say you will sometime relapse, I really do mean it. Sometime when you're not paying attention or it happened without warning, you can relapse and say stuff you don't mean. Look, I done it before. Val done it before. Every one of us done it before. And my thing is, there's no innocence. Because the moment you start playing innocent for a mess up, the moment you go down and you scoot down to pretty low level. And I always say this. When you don't pay attention to that stuff, you can really, and I mean really mess up. I always say it. It is so freaking easy to relapse. I've done it so many times. And there are some times I do regret it. Because it's not fun, and it's not fun to end up repeating something you don't want to repeat again. Heck, it's something I learned long, long ago, and trust me, people can take it the wrong way when you do relapse in that way. And I really do mean it. I actually have done it without even meaning it. And it it's not fun. that scene, I'll be brutally honest, it's not fun in a way. And for people who don't understand, yes, it's super easy to relapse and repeat the same stuff without even meaning it. It's super easy. You could do it without even realizing it. And that I'm actually serious about. It's super easy to relapse. And for autistic people, it's even easier for us, even when we're trying to not do it. But yeah, But yeah, something I learned long ago. But it always better to learn when you get a chance to. Heck, when you learn, it can actually be better and it could be a life improvement. That for sure. Heck, there's stuff that I'm glad I learned that I now use in everyday life, and this will help autistic people because let's be honest, some of us do make mistakes that can really harm us. And when I say that, I actually really do mean it because us autistics have made mistakes and it have went wrong for us. And I always say this, it's better to know instead of, getting oofed by toxic people and by bad people because I'll be honest, when you mess up on something, some people can take it the wrong way. That's what I'll be honest about. And you have people who don't want people to realize, aka autism speaks. And y'all know my feelings with them because of how dishonest they are. Y'all know that I don't agree with their methods because of how bad they are. But it's better to learn it than something. But yeah, it is around 9:30 now, and Bella got work at 7 in the morning, and I got to take the bus at 8. Before I can go to work tomorrow at 11. So me and Val got to get ready to go to bed. But I hope everybody have a great Thursday. And I'm gonna tickle Val. I'm gonna tickle you.
No, no, no.
But I hope everybody enjoyed the live stream and what we've been doing. Because I really want to get back to talking about stuff that the autistic community we want to happen that is good for us. So that's something I want to talk about more this year. So yeah. But
let me eat my spoon of chocolate.
But I hope everybody enjoyed the live stream.
Like and subscribe.
And Nutella on the floor. And I hope everybody have a good night. And up, almost got me. Night time. But I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys. Have a night. And peace out. Bye. Hasta pizza.